there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's DMG, and welcome back to Blitz. And today we are going to have another Back to Basics video on another map, the one that's next in line. It is Dead Rail. So without further ado, let's get into it. Dead Rail is one of those maps that you can play both sides of the map. You know, both sides of the map exist, and for a different reason. Now you can either everyone push the C side or everyone push the A side. I mean, and it works on both spawns. You know, there's not a better way to go. Actually, I take that back. On this side, you can push C a little easier than the other spawn, and I'll tell you why. Because you can go to this bush right here and get early shots off, but you have to really be aware, as sometimes people come up through this middle area and will just shoot you in the butt, and then you're in a very, very tough position, which means you have to be very aware and immediately drop as fast as you can. You have to be good with your reverse driving. As you can see, I'm not really looking, as I've done this so many times just to get away from enemies, right? But on the side, you can also go to this bush right here. This is mirrored on the other side. The first bush that I showed you, this one right here, it's mirrored on the other side, but it is harder to get to on this side, and you will be spotted. The best you can do is go to this bush right here, or, well, there is no bush right here, and get a shot, but at that point you'll be spotted, and a lot of tanks don't have good fronts for this that can get up here quickly. So if you're going to use something up here, it's got to be like an E50M or something like that, something with like a nice jutting front plate that is strong. As I said before, this bush is mirrorable with this bush. You can also always go up here. Quick early spot, back down. This is quite good just to get some really early view range across out the map. You know, see which tanks are going where. I mean, you'll really be able to see if someone is coming to your side or not, and then you'll be able to plan accordingly. In the event you have to camp, this bush back here is really good. You can, if you have a tall enough tank, let's say you're like in a Jagdpanther 2 or a Ferdinand, you can just sit here like this and spray down fire. However, that's really the only lane you can do that from. That bush over there is just okay. You have to be using like a gun depression vehicle to use that other one. It's not as good. But as you can see, attacking from the side that I started on, which is the south side, is better than the north side. Going towards C, but going towards A, it's pretty much the same. Now, if this were encounter, right? Let's go through this real quick. If this is encounter, you always want to go to this side because the cap circle's here. I don't usually recommend going to the cap circle, but there are very few maps where the cap circle is important, and the Dead Rail is one of them. Take the side, get into the cap circle like this, and wait. Take a heavy tank like an IS-6, which can actually only poke its turret up over this, and you're pretty much protected and you have good side armor protection. Or if you have like a T-34 or something like that, something that just has monstrous amounts of alpha for its tier and can really put out the hurt. See, the cap circle would be right here, and you will be able to sit on this side as well and just spray out fire on whoever is trying to get shots at you. And even if they come from the other side, they have to shoot through, you know, or shoot over these little rail cars here, which makes it kind of difficult. Now the other side, we'll start working our way into B. You can take B, and if they're at C, you can side scrape off of this, but then you're worrying about 1, 2, 3, 4 angles that you have to cover, so you just have to be very aware of what's going on in the game. Going back through spawn real quick, I forgot to show this off, but you can sit back in spawn. A lot of 183s do this. You can even sit back here with certain heavy tanks. If you flank all the way around from C, this is the bush you want to be in, because this gives you view range into their spawn and spots their TDs, as well as you can put shots into their heavy tanks trying to take A. This spot is on both sides, so make sure when you complete your flank from whichever side you're going, this is the final spot you want to end up at, or at least in my opinion. In each spawn, there's a few different spots you can use. This first one right here, it's not as common, but you can also use it for heavy tanks that have good turrets. This is a bush right here, just easy poke right like that, and get shots off. Use that bush to silhouette your weak points and not allow them to hit your tank. This one is a lot more common right here. Tank destroyers usually. Not so good for rear mounts, right? Because you have to come all the way up. But if you have a front mount, like a good front mount, like a J Panther or something like that, or an Object 268, right? This is really good, and you can just fire here. And if you have good crew skills, like good camouflage, stuff like that, you'll be able to do so unspotted. However, usually after you fire, I'd recommend immediately backing down because the light bulb will go off 3 seconds later. That's mirrorable on both sides as well. Now for the heavy side, of course, this is your standard location where you want to be. Simply poking, firing, working that trading advantage, just doing your level best, right? Trying to repel them away out of A. Remember that you shouldn't be trying to push into A. You're just trying to whittle them down enough to the point where you can eventually push A. Now, taking A is not the primary objective, despite it being supremacy. So just make sure that all the enemies are cleared out of there. Once you clear A, you can sit in locations like this and put shots in at B and C, especially if you have like good haul down tanks like the T-34, T-32, or even a low would work, right? Tiger 2 would work. You can take tanks that have albeit poor gun depression up here. I mean, although good gun depression is actually better. I mean, if you take an ST1 right here, if you watch my first video that I put up on channel, I take an ST1 to this location. This allows you to go haul down and just get view range at everything. You can see the tank destroyers that sit in these back bushes back here. If they sit in these bushes over here, you'll be able to see them. Heavy tanks will sometimes be trying to panic their way towards A, and you will be able to just pop over and shoot them one before they even realize you're really there. I'll keep going through it again, but there are so many different ways you can play Dead Rail. It's a very versatile kind of map. It's just remembering that if you're in a heavy tank, you need to win the, and of course if it's supremacy, right? If it's supremacy, you need to win the A side, and if you're in a medium tank, you need to win the C side, or if you have a gun depression medium, you need to be going up here like I first pointed out. Now, why is this location so important? Like I said, you could put in shots there at that bush, which is a mirror to that bush right there that I was showing you. You can also sometimes see tank destroyers that get a little greedy and go over there. Like I said, you can like if you bounce shots off your turret and they're just like in this general direction, assume that they are in this bush and just fire at that bush, right? You have to be very careful in certain situations because if they're pressuring B, you can get shot in your side. So prioritize B if you are in that location that I was just in. Being able to take B, the middle cap essentially is so important because it's usually the risky cap, and once you take it, it's really hard to actually, for the enemy team to actually go in there and retake the cap without getting absolutely flogged. So just keep that in mind. Dead Rail, I mean, if I had to choose a certain kind of tank that I'd want to play on this map, I'd probably choose a tank destroyer, honestly, because you can just use this location right here. Like I said, it's on the other side. You know, I've had 4,500 or 4,500 damage games in the J Panther just sitting here farming people. You know, granted, if you're in this spot, you want most of the action to be in this area. Over here, you start getting dangerous. You need like some kind of tank to spot for you over there, or else start getting shot in the side and all that. If they pop over the middle, this is still a great location. You can still shoot people that you want to use that mid ridge and shoot them in their turrets. Let's see. Other good locations. I think that's about it. Back to encounter mode. If you're playing on encounter, right, you can still go through this side, but you don't have any cap control. This is one of the few maps in encounter where I think cap control is important. The other ones, we'll get to those anyway. But like I said, if you can take a heavy tank, just sit it right here and look out. And if you have a team behind you, so make sure you're calling whichever side this is, whether that's the left or the right side, depending on your spawn. And then if you're in a heavy tank, just sitting here and firing away. Very important. Not to mention, you'll draw them because if they're going to the valley side, right, they will most likely be drawn through this middle area because it is the shortest distance from them to you. And if you have people behind you, you'll just be able to put shots in at them, and the other people will be firing from stealth at them. Just keep in mind that you are susceptible to being flanked, but it will most likely only happen from one side, as the enemy team usually likes to travel in a pack. So just be aware that whichever side that you spawned on, well, let's say I spawned from over there and I drove here, right? Expect them to come through your spawn because they're pushing all the way across, and they're going to come all the way around. Some are going to come through the middle right here, and then you may get one or two trying to hit you through these lanes. But it actually is kind of difficult because they have to get all the way, at least to this lateral to you, to shoot you. Like, going all the way back there won't work. You can do a lot of different things too. If you start getting pressured over here, just go behind this, right, and work it this way. No shame in doing that and going out of the cap, because once you drew them out, you can just probably annihilate them with your gun. Capping is only a secondary win condition, so keep that in mind for encounter. A lot of winning this top area is knowing how to effectively shoot from these bushes. When someone pokes out, just be ready to fire and immediately pull back behind a rock. Or if getting here first, right? Getting this first shot off from this bush is so important, right? You go here, and someone's usually going to pop. You just wait for a second, shoot them once in the track. They may blow their repair kit or their multi-restoration or whatever it is, and then you can just come back again and shoot them again, right? And if you have like a Russian tank, right, your armor's on an angle like this, so just keep wiggling back and forth, bounce another shot, and fire another one across. Really effective spot right there. So it's about getting those early hit point trades going 1 for 0, right? Giving a shot without taking any in return. That's what you want to be doing, because then that will eventually pay dividends later, so you can just push them and take them all out. Anyways, I think that's Dead Rail in a nutshell for you. If you found this content helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe. And if you didn't, please leave your constructive criticism in the comments. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to share my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.